Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final episode
Oh,
of the Byte That podcast. It's
yeah.
it's kind of sad that I have to say this, but we are indeed ending the podcast. This is the final episode. This is episode 214. I am Ryan McNulty from Boston, Massachusetts. Joining me for the last time,
Oh, you make it
Keith
sound so
Keith
sad.
Poshik. Keith,
I'm
how you
here.
doing?
I'm here. I'm sad. I'm real sad, Ryan. But this is good. This is good. I'm excited. This is going to be our grand finale, our big blowout. It's a factory authorized bite that clearance. Everything must go today, and I am excited that we get to do this. Even though not all of us are here, some of us are still out in a disaster zone, but we're gonna make the most of this and have a real good time for the next hour and change. And if you're listening to the live version over on YouTube, come have some fun with us. This is gonna be a very chill episode, very relaxed. We're just gonna shoot the breeze, have a swig of water for the working man. It'll all be good.
Yeah, so as Keith said, Juan is not with us. Puerto Rico is still in a really, really desperate situation right now after Hurricane Maria. So
Things
Juan,
seem scary over there.
yeah, things are getting really bad, but Juan is okay. He even wrote a piece for me to read on his behalf a little bit later
Oh,
on in the
cool. I'm so
show.
happy you're gonna read
Yes, yeah,
that.
I will read it. So Juan couldn't be here, but as we said in the last episode, this may be the final traditional episode. But whenever Juan is back to, he's able to, everything's settled out. He has his electricity and everything, and he has the time to do an episode. We will do a bonus reunion type episode. Maybe we'll save it for Royal Rumble, maybe WrestleMania. We'll figure that out. It might be cool to kind of do that around WrestleMania and kind of reflect on everything that's happened since the podcast has ended. But I mean, all that's way too out in the future. We're just letting you know we don't want to
Yeah,
do a final episode without Juan, but it's going to be quite a while before that happens, unfortunately. But
exactly. And my advice would be to everybody listening out there, even though this is the last episode going away, don't unsubscribe, because not only can you check out all of the great things that we did before, but when that episode comes out, you'll be able to see it. You'll be notified that it happened, so you'll be able to finish the journey off with us.
yeah, exactly. So if you're on YouTube or your podcast app, just leave a subscribe. We're not going to be bothering your feed for a while, but you'll be able to see that episode when it pops up. And of course, you can always look to, we're not going to kill the Byte That Twitter. So if you're still following that, you'll see those tweets. And then you can
Or if you
follow,
haven't blocked us
yeah,
after last
you can
week.
follow Juan at EpicJC and myself at the Ryan McNulty. Juan and I are going to be regularly tweeting still. We're still going to be active. Keith is stepping out of the internet world
Yeah.
for a little while,
Well,
but
we'll talk about all
yeah,
that later.
yeah, exactly. We do have some wrestling to talk. We
Yeah.
last week we
We
did
are a wrestling podcast for the next hour and change, so we might as well talk about a bit of
yeah, we
wrestling.
might as well strike while the iron is hot. We just came off of a WWE pay-per-view. Raw and SmackDown also occurred, and things are going in some interesting directions. But truly, the last WWE show, and I think it's kind of fitting in a way. No Mercy had some changing of the guards going on, so I think it was a
Yes.
good pay-per-view for us to go out on. And it's the last piece of WWE that both of us are planning to watch live for a long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm planning to step away until at least the Royal Rumble, which I'll just watch from a
You
pure
you even
fan
unsubscribed from the
standpoint.
network,
I
right?
did. I canceled my network subscription. Interestingly enough, last Christmas I got a 3-month WWE Network card almost as a troll gift from one of my roommates. So hey, when Royal Rumble comes
That'll get
around,
you that might
yeah,
get you from the Rumble to Mania.
it's true, and I
So,
won't even have to pay for it, so that's pretty great. But let's actually talk a little bit about No Mercy.
Yeah.
We had what it was advertised for really having these two WrestleMania caliber matches in John Cena versus Roman Reigns and then Brock Lesnar versus Braun Strowman. A lot of people walked away disappointed with those two matches, but I wanted to get your thoughts on the pay-per-view overall.
I actually really, really liked No Mercy. Maybe it's because I haven't watched wrestling in a while, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's a situation where the undercard definitely stole the show, notably Sheamus and Cesaro versus Ambrose and Rollins. That match was incredible, and you started to see beginnings for people like Jason Jordan. Like I think Jason Jordan has a very bright future with the company. But even the big matches, to go one by one, Roman Reigns versus John Cena, I didn't think it was that bad. It definitely had its problems, like Roman Reigns kicking out of those two AAs. That's a bit much. It was a bit heavy-handed in the changing of the guard thing, but that to me is all a matter of perspective, because there's another angle that I think that that match was telling story-wise that I think it delivered perfectly on, and that's John Cena's career coming full circle. And I think they did so good in that match with that. And I tip my hat for them, like especially the moment at the end of the match where everybody was like cheering "Thank you, Cena." I thought that was an excellent moment, because right after No Mercy, I actually went back and watched ECW One Night Stand with the one with John Cena versus RVD, and it was that whole crowd chanting like, "If Cena wins, we riot, F you Cena," all that. So to go from that to where No Mercy ended up, like I think that's an incredible story and really put like a nice finishing touch, even though it's probably not the end of John Cena's career, a very nice finishing touch on this run slash any other run that John Cena will have going forward. So I actually really enjoyed the match. And, they're giving Roman Reigns the keys to the kingdom. He's the top guy, whether you like it or not. So you just kind of got to go along with the ride for that. And we know where it's all going. He probably beats Brock Lesnar for the title. Then it really is the end of that old guard. And hey, that's probably happening one way or another, if even if we don't like it. And then as far as the Brock Lesnar match
Let me.
goes,
I'll because we
okay,
might as well
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
get
yeah, yeah. Might
into
as well.
Cena and
That's a good
Reigns.
point.
No, I agree. If you kind of look at it from a story standpoint, I think the match did tell a good story of Cena, giving everything he could to take down Roman Reigns. But I think you said it right, where heavy-handed is almost an understatement when you do a double AA. Like, I'm always going to harp on this two consecutive AAs kick out, because if you want somebody to be likable and relatable, then you can't really overdo it. I think they just went a step too far, where it's
Is
like,
that top guy really supposed to be relatable though? I don't know if relatable is the
well,
right.
I mean, think about Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? I think he was a very relatable character in the way that he's a guy who's frustrated with his boss and is acting out in a way that you wish you could act out against your boss. I found
Yeah, but
Stone
that's character wise. What about match wise? Like I'm sure Stone Cold kicked out of a lot of rock bottoms, a lot of
put a rock
pedigrees.
bottom into a rock bottom kick out.
I
Regardless,
feel I can't back that up, but I feel like that
like
might have
that is, I don't know.
happened.
I very rarely see finisher immediately into second finisher then kick out.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, you know what I mean? If you see Superman just brushing off anything that any villain can throw at him and then he just wins, it's like, how interesting is that? Is Superman that interesting to you anymore if he's just brushing everything, if nothing ever affects him?
What if
And
his mom's name is Martha?
yeah.
How interesting is it then?
Well, and that's why it's just like, this is only going to make people like dislike him more. Whereas if it was like, man, Reigns was the better man, but Reigns just got just a little bit more than Cena did, and that's why he won. Instead of it just being like, psh, two AAs are nothing nowadays. It's like, that's chump crap. So I'm just gonna win, and I think it's like that's only going to get people more enraged. You're just adding more fuel to the fire. I think there could have been a more graceful way to go about it. I'm okay with the story. I'm okay with Cena not having enough to take down Reigns. I think the story was told right, except for the double AA, and that's like my big nitpick. I thought the match was fine. A lot of people were a little let down by it. I thought it was
But what
fine.
did you expect from it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty good. So now we can get to Brock and Strowman. And
All right.
you love both of these guys very much, so I'll let you start.
I think the match is very similar to Cena and Roman, where I loved the match up until the finish, where Strowman basically dominated that match. Strowman looked like $1,000,000, and then he lost to one F5, and then it kind of, I wouldn't say it undid everything, but it kind of put a damper on everything. And I think Strowman still comes out ahead on this one, but it was disappointing that the match ended like it did. But overall, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, it in no insult to Samoa Joe, but the match basically ended the same way as Joe's match, where it's
It
like
did.
the Joe and Braun both got a lot of good offense in. Braun, I think, looked even more dominant than Joe did in his match, and then it just kind of ends on a whimper, and that was what the letdown was. I mean, I want to see Strowman look like a badass going down with a real fight instead of just kind of one. If all it takes is one F5, fine, but have Brock beat the holy hell out of him before that F5 comes.
Agreed.
Brock beats the holy hell out of him. Braun keeps getting back up and up and up, and then finally he hits that F5, and then it's over. Braun, for as dominant as he looked in the beginning, it just felt really uneven for him to go down so quickly, and I think that was my big disappointment with it. I mean, Braun was red hot. I think he'll continue to have a lot of momentum, but it just sucks that we are really going this route that we thought we were going in, which is, one by one they will all fall to Brock Lesnar until we have Roman Reigns come in for the rescue at the end. It's sad when you can predict that a year out. It's not like The Rock versus Cena 1 where they literally told you a year out. This is something we're just kind of calling a year out, and it's just unfolding that way, and it's uninteresting.
It
I
is.
understand Roman's the guy, but I think there's more interesting ways to go about it. Let's have some twists and turns. Let's not just tell this super linear, boring story of Brock beats all these other guys, and then the guy you expect to win will win. So that's my disappointment there. It's probably Brock versus Balor next, and honestly, they kind of knocked down the more interesting opponents first for me. I don't really see Balor as, first of all, a any realistic challenge to actually winning the championship against Brock. And then, the match could be fun. I mean, CM Punk versus Brock was a really fun match, but
Yeah.
is the feud going to be any better than these other two? No, it's just going to kind of be the same thing. Probably one F5 and Finn Balor's done.
And I think where the problem with that really lies, speaking of the F5, is even if they're trying to protect the F5 in this way, that it's this devastating move that can take anybody out, Roman Reigns is probably going to kick out a multiple of them. So at the end of the day, it all kind of feels like it's for nothing. And it's very similar to the AA situation.
Yeah. So moving on to another interesting note that happened at No Mercy, a lot of people were talking about Enzo Amore became the cruiserweight champion in a very unorthodox fashion. A lot of
I
people
liked it.
a lot of people crapped on this match. I didn't think it was so bad because I was kind of looking at it purely from an entertainment and not really a wrestling aspect. So when you kind of have these more entertainment style matches over an actual pure wrestling match, usually I'll enjoy it more than most. It's not everybody's cup of tea, and I understand that. I thought it was actually kind of interesting that they did indeed give the title to Enzo Amore, and he just kind of went off on a funny tangent on Raw Talk following that, and talking about how much he needed to get those side plates off of Neville's side plates off, and
Yeah.
he's going to be remaking changing the look of the title, and we've seen kind of preview pictures online. of like this leopard print title and things like that. But the more interesting note, and I didn't watch Raw, but I did watch the YouTube clip of the Enzo promo that actually ended Monday Night Raw,
The
where,
cruiserweights did it.
yeah,
Who
where, I
started the
mean, it seems
cruiserweight
like because
revolution,
of the
Ryan?
NFL, they're getting really experimental with what's going to end Raw. You know, they do that whole, the 10 o'clock hour is now the real main event of Raw. Although I didn't see what happened on the 10 o'clock this week, but they did this a lot last year where they essentially throw in the towel, tell you, okay, we'll show you everything you need to see at 10 o'clock, and we'll experiment with what's going to end Raw and see if it bumps a rating. So Enzo essentially has an interesting, you kind of have a double turn here where Enzo is showing more heelish tactics. I mean, he did kick Neville in the junk to win the championship, so that's already not a very babyface thing to do. And Neville just beats the holy hell out of him and essentially kind of he beats the crap out of Enzo as a get out of the cruiserweight division free card. Which,
Pretty
I mean,
much.
I think if anyone else had that same stipulation in the cruiserweight division, they'd start beating the hell out of Enzo too.
And didn't on like 205 Live the entire cruiserweight division beat the hell out of Enzo? So I think you might
Yeah,
be onto something.
they're like, guys, that paper only applied to Neville. You're not going to be able to get out of this. I'm
It's like,
sorry.
oh no. But yeah, this could breathe some life into the cruiserweight division. And I've said for a long time Neville is the best thing by a mile. And if this like get out of free card is actually a thing and he moves up to the roster, that could be really cool. I could totally see Neville as a mid card champion, especially on Raw. Him going to SmackDown would probably be the best situation, but I hope there's great things for Neville going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great thing for both competitors. Enzo as a heel champion, it makes sense. He can't like we know he can't wrestle that well. So, but his
Yeah.
character is something that 205 Live needed more of. And it's a character from the main roster onto 205 Live. I know like Drew Gulak has a cool character going on right now on 205 Live, but we haven't seen it on Raw enough for to get eyes there. But Enzo developed on Raw and is now on that show. And then Neville gets out of the cruiserweight division. He's really found his character well in the cruiserweight division. That was something he was really lacking when he was on the main roster. And now he can go back, and I think he's in really good shape to find a lot of success. So I'm really happy for him.
Agreed.
So now an interesting thing this week, the Edge and Christian podcast, which I actually had never listened to before, but I had heard a lot of good things about. The Edge and Christian Pod of Awesomeness had John Cena on as a guest this week, and I recommend everyone go and listen to it. It's definitely one of the best wrestling interviews you'll hear all year. Cena really went in depth with the wrestling talk with Edge and Christian. You know, Edge and Cena have a really storied history, a great rivalry that they had back in the mid to late 2000s. And they kind of really dive into that and just a lot of the kind of thinking behind what happens and why it does in wrestling. But the obviously the most interesting note, at least for me, the biggest takeaway, and Cena pretty much recognizes a lot of the things that we talk about on this very podcast, a lot of the concerns that is driving us away from WWE, and a big reason why this podcast is coming to a close. Cena, one particular quote, and I'll paraphrase, he said that there's a Grand Canyon size gap between superstars and the audience today, where a lot of the audience just doesn't know who these guys are. And when I say who they are, I don't mean, oh, they don't know this guy's name is Kevin Owens. They don't know what a lot of these guys are about. And I'm not pointing out Kevin Owens in particular because he's actually one of the better characters on the show. But we don't know what a lot of these guys are about, what makes them tick. Great wrestling ability. I mean, Cena even says he puts himself on the lower end of wrestling talent on the roster, but it's the connection that's missing. And that's what he was trying to bring out of Roman Reigns in this feud. And I think he did definitely light a fire in Roman Reigns, but there's not enough of that fire going around. So, did you feel? Did you really kind of think Cena is onto something with this interview?
Oh, absolutely. I think it goes back to one of the things we mentioned last week about how wrestling has just kind of become a bunch of guys wrestling. There's not a lot of character development, and a lot of that gets lost. Like a lot of the if you look at a lot of promos today with the top guys, it's catering to hardcore wrestling fans when they do their little shoots and stuff like that. It's all for the people that are already invested in the product. And how much good does that really do at the end of the day? That's kind of what I was left with from that interview. And I agree with Ryan. It's an incredible interview that's very much worth going to watch. Cena breaks it down very good. All of the problems with the current product and all of the good things as well. And he even says like there is room to build, and he thinks that like we're on like the verge of a golden era. And you could see that. You can see that point of view where we're at like a tipping point.
Yeah, I mean, it's also intriguing that Cena kind of mentions that there's a lot of complacency, that a lot of guys are just kind of comfortable with what they've been given and they're just reading the script and kind of going along for the ride. And we have a lot of great matches, but he mentions not enough people are taking chances, and really this needs to change. And it's great to hear like Cena say this on a podcast and a lot of people are talking about it, but I think this is like the most fundamental problem in WWE is that, maybe it's more on the talent than people want to admit. Where, okay, sure, these guys are being handed crap scripts a lot of times that don't really fit the characters, and the storylines suck or whatever. But ultimately, when the talent is out there in the ring, they can take chances. That Cena emphasizes, like, people need to take chances and just do things. And a lot of the reason, like, things like successes like Cena and the New Day even talk about, they'll just go out there sometimes and just go off script and say things. And there's no, it's no mistaking why the New Day became as popular as it has become, is because of a lot of these chances that people took. And if people just rely on the writers, we're just going to get a lot of these crap promos. I mean, a lot of people were talking about a promo this week that happened on Raw between Bayley and Sasha Banks, where it's like these two
Yeah,
people,
that was rough.
these two people are supposed to be friends, but everything about that segment is just telling me, why should I even buy into that? It's just wooden and awkward. And there's a lot of that going on in WWE, where what you're telling me I'm supposed to be watching, it's not fitting. There's a disconnect somewhere. So, the writers suck. Well, guess what? You're out there live. Wing it.
Yeah.
Give us some
What a
entertainment.
what a weird dynamic wrestling has in that way. That's so I don't even know the word for it. Like the best things that happen in wrestling happen despite of the people that are making the television show. Like why is that business model allowed to succeed? It really shouldn't, cuz I was reading somewhere, I can't remember where it was. It was some interview with Jericho this week where he was talking about like how the writing team wanted to change the ending of the Festival of Friendship to make it like to take out the entire
Yeah.
list, and he had to like argue on behalf of that and fight for it and fight for it. And then imagine if the Festival of Friendship ended with just Kevin Owens beating down Jericho. You would lose like half of it, and
It wouldn't be memorable at
it
all.
wouldn't be memorable. So
That
I don't
shows
get
you. I
it.
mean,
I
if it
don't
was
get it.
anyone else in that storyline, if you had someone else who just kind of went along with it, then we wouldn't have had that moment. But someone like Jericho, who's been around, he knows to fight for something if he really believes in it. And I think that just needs to be like, that needs to get across to the rest of the roster. You know, that,
Agreed.
like, we don't have the guys like CM Punk anymore, that they fight for what they believe in, for what their character should be. You watch CM Punk's DVD And he talks about, they'd hand him a script and he'd rip it up because they didn't talk to him. They didn't try to understand where he was coming from with his character before they just handed him a promo. That type of mentality is apparently severely, it's lacking in the current
But
WWE locker room.
you also have the other side of that argument where you hear stories like Tyler Breeze leaves early and loses everything for it. So you can see why people would be on pins and needles and be like, "Yes, sir," to whatever crap gets thrown at them.
It's true. It's true. Like, I mean, we understand that there's no place else to go. I mean, you can look at a guy like Cody, who's found a ton of success outside
Which
of
also had
WWE,
an amazing
but
interview on Talk is Jericho
yeah,
this week. It was a real good week for wrestling interviews.
that's one I still have to listen to.
Recommend it.
But yeah, I mean, I understand not every guy was around for as long as Cody was, so that he could go out and make a name for himself. But it's what there comes a time where if you don't really believe in where your character is going, you gotta at least fight for it. You don't have to go rogue out there live, but fight for it more with the people you're working with backstage. I don't know, but it's a huge problem in WWE right now. It's not all on the talent, it's not all on the writers, but it certainly is a huge problem in WWE. At least from a viewer's standpoint, it is by far the biggest problem in WWE, is that there is a lack of connection between many of the characters and the audience.
Agreed.
So before we get into reflecting about the Byte That podcast, because we're done with the current WWE talk for
That's it.
That's it. We're done with it.
There's no more.
But we are going to look back at Byte That, talk about some memories, and then at the end we are going to get to questions. So I mean, if you do have questions about current WWE, we will answer those.
Yeah, and if you're watching us live, put some questions in the chat. We'll throw them in the queue.
Yes, definitely. We'll be, we do this live, so this is our chance to finally just directly interact with the chat. So if you guys get questions in mind, I would say, and you're in the chat, hold off for now. Once we get to it, then start putting them in the chat, just so it's easier for us to find it in the chat.
All right, I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's
So
and I'll keep an eye out.
Start thinking of those questions, and then we'll get to the chat. We also have some questions that people sent in, and we will be answering those as well. So we'll kind of be going back and forth with that. But before all of that, before we get to reflecting on Byte That in our 4-year journey, I do want to read the message that Juan sent in. Obviously, Juan is the heart and soul of Byte That, so it really sucks that he can't be here. But I do have his words to bring to the show, so we at least have that. So Juan is with us in spirit, and we're just hoping everything gets settled in Puerto Rico. It's unfortunate they're really not getting as much aid as they need. Legitimately, 96% of the entire territory, the island, has no electricity right now, and they're just not getting enough supplies fast enough. So it really, really sucks. But
it's
Juan
like
is
a
okay.
Real scary situation.
Yeah, it's that's the thing, is the more difficult it is to get resources, the more scarce they are. Things like start really turning bad, with crime and all that. So Juan, stay safe. We're all thinking about you. If
I love you, buddy.
Like, I don't know what the mail situation is out there. I wish I could send something over, but I can't even at this point guarantee if I sent him stuff that he would even get to him. But I know as soon as that happens, like, I'm doing what I can to help him, because he's family to us. So we just want everything to be okay. So hopefully things turn for the better. We're all hoping for you. So here are Juan's words. Gang, Juan here. It truly sucks that I cannot be part of the final official episode of BT podcast, but as you know, Puerto Rico just had its most catastrophic experience in the last century with Hurricane Maria. Water, electricity, gasoline, and other things we all take for granted are a luxury for the time being. I write this from a building that's hosting free Wi-Fi because, as we've said, this is not goodbye, but instead a welcome to new opportunities. Maria decided to just mess with us. He bleeped it with us during this process. This is all somehow Keith's fault. As stated in the last episode, which I was able to download, we will have a BT reunion episode once I'm back up. Also, Keith, what the hell? Of all examples for a reunion, you choose Survivor, a show about people surviving on an island. You are sick.
Yeah.
I hate you, but damn it, I love you. Seriously, though, let's remove Hurricane Maria aside for a minute. BT was not just a podcast or a YouTube channel for me. It was a part of my life. For the past 4 years, the three of us developed a friendship with many of you that I will never forget. WWE may come and go, but we built something special. We built something special. He emphasized there. I don't want to butcher it. And the building process includes each and every one of you listening. Whether you sent in a question or not, subscribed or not, you took time out of your day to give us a shot, and we hope in return we were able to provide some entertainment for you. This is the first time in forever, basically, where I take a long break from WWE. Not just because there's not electricity in Puerto Rico, and I have to say that through it all, I have no regrets. Although the three of us may not have a new platform similar to BT, I know we will all work together in many different capacities. I'll even do my best to have Keith have some presence on the internet. No promises. I need your help with this one, Ryan. And Jeff. Also, how is Jeff? Ryan, did you ever officially tell him our decision? If not, just tell him it was TNA management's idea. Ending the ramble. Thank you, Byte Club. I love this, all of this, and I miss it dearly. BT helped me grow on a personal and professional level. Never be afraid to try new things and leave your comfort zone. WWE had our comfort zone for many years, but like a pair of used Simon Dean underwear, sooner or later you have to throw it away. The moral of the story is buy more underwear. No way Jose underwear. He's just forcing in the references at the end. Love you all, and I look forward to speaking as a team one more time in totally not like Survivor BT reunion. Juan Court. P.S. Jeff's real name isn't Jeff. Mystery.
That's right.
Mystery.
That's right. The person that you voted to be the podcast host of the year isn't even a real person. I'm still bitter about that.
Way to mess up your cam.
Oh yeah, I did do that. Right? Hold on. One moment.
That's all right.
There we go. It's better.
So Juan with some heartfelt words. Like he said, there will be that reunion episode. We just can't promise it anytime soon, but it will happen. We'll announce it well beforehand, so don't worry about that. So now I wanted to get in some time to reflect on Byte that, we've been doing this for 4 years. That we've had a lot of great memories. So I just I bullet pointed a few highlights for me. Of course, when we started this podcast, it was legitimately right after Daniel Bryan had won the title for the first time at SummerSlam, and then the whole cash-in happened I guess summer
it was
of 2013.
right after that. Yeah.
So we really started the podcast at probably one of the most exciting times and build-ups in like a WrestleMania history. That whole build-up to Daniel Bryan eventually capturing the championship at WrestleMania 30 again was a super, super interesting time. I mean, CM Punk left within that year, a lot of craziness. So, I just love the fact that when we started the podcast, it was during one of the best times in wrestling. So we were so passionate about it then. It's really sad to kind of come here now and we're like, oh, like I can't even watch WWE anymore. But and it's not even the worst time in WWE, not even close. It's just, you go on the roller coaster enough times and
it eventually loses its luster.
Yeah, you go on a roller coaster once, it's super exciting, but by the 7th time, the 8th time, the 9th time, all of a sudden you don't even feel the drop anymore. And that's kind of how I just feel at this point, where things are happening that are supposed to be exciting and I just don't feel anything. And I'm like, that's wrong. I shouldn't be out here.
It's true.
In trying to discuss things when it's like, if I'm not passionate about it, why should you be passionate about what I'm saying?
And like looking at that chunk of time that we've done the podcast, like from there to now, it's almost a very disappointing feeling time because if you look at the WWE then, you had so much potential. I can't even remember how many times we said back in the day, this is going to be so good when he gets called up. This is going to be so good once he starts getting momentum. This is going to be so good once he gets a couple wins under his belt with people like The Shield when The Shield finally broke up. We had Finn Balor come in. All of these guys from NXT, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt was still hot then. Compared to what happened throughout the years, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we had a lot of high hopes. I mean, this whole reality era thing we thought we was getting ushered in with this Daniel Bryan feud kind of didn't
And
really become.
even Daniel Bryan's title reign, like
Yeah,
when it
I mean
actually
that was a
happened.
definitely disappointing. But like that, those times I have a lot of great memories of just we had so many good discussions of like how much of this is WWE planning Daniel Bryan's rise, and how much of it is the fans just kicking and screaming until they get their way. It was just such an interesting time, and just there was always something to discuss every week. I mean, we like when we started this, like couple months in, like we'd finish watching Raw, and I'd be like, man, can we just start the podcast right now? I get so many
Yeah,
things I need to
totally.
talk about because it was just such an interesting time. So, I really do hold those memories dearly. Another thing I want to bring up is the bear attack. So we might as well reveal that if we haven't revealed it already.
Did
The
we
Yeah.
really? We never did
I don't
that?
know if we did or not. Well, maybe not on the podcast itself, but maybe we've
All
said
right,
it kind of.
we're
We've
breaking
said it
Byte
off
that
the record a
kayfabe.
couple times. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the whole bear attack basically happened because I had to move. That was the beginning of my time in Flin Flon, Manitoba. Look it up on a map and realize how close it is to nowhere. But yeah, I had to move for work, and then once we sat down and talked about, well, I'm not going to be on the show for a couple of months. I just realized like you can basically archive my entire process in Flin Flon through the podcast because we did the show my entire stay there, and
Yeah.
that's kind of mind blowing. But yeah, we decided, or like we realized that wasn't going to be on the show for a little while. So how do we write me off? And then the first thing I thought of was the Street Fighter 2 sound effect when you lose, like the and how can I incorporate that into something on the podcast? And for whatever reason, we landed on bear attack. So I put together this fake bear attack.
Which was
Sorry, it was
amazing.
fake. It was amazing. And yeah, that gave me the time I needed to move by being quote unquote written off the show. And these guys really ran with that. Like the moment was the fun part, but the fact that you guys started doing like bear facts every week instead of like tweet of the week, that was incredible. I loved that so much. And it was really the first time in Byte That History that we had like that was our first thing. Like that it wasn't a wrestling thing, that was a Byte That thing. And it's really special to me for that reason.
Oh yeah, definitely. The crazy thing about that is that I mean, it took you what, like a couple days to actually move in and get settled in Flin Flon. The problem was that it is so in the middle of nowhere.
Internet.
It
It's
literally,
the land that
yeah,
technology forgot.
it
It took me 6 weeks to
6 weeks.
set up an internet appointment to get internet. I moved there in 3 days, but 6 weeks just for a freaking technician to come and set up my internet, and it was garbage internet. It wasn't good. I had like one down. I had to watch when I had the network up there. I watched pay-per-views in 480 because that's all my damn internet could stream.
So sad. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. You had a lot of time without internet, just chilling at your place. So I feel bad that you had to endure that. But yeah, it's crazy. That was the big holdup. Six
Yeah.
weeks to get internet. Crazy. Another thing I wanted to bring up was definitely when, unfortunately, Keith was unable to go to this, but I was able to fly down to Puerto Rico for Juan's wedding, and also a good friend of ours, Jamie, was able to come with us as well.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
touchy subject for me.
yeah, Keith, because of said job change, or it might have been a different job. That might have been when you
No,
moved out of Flin Flon,
yeah,
actually.
that's when I moved back to Winnipeg that
Yeah,
I
Keith's had a
accepted a
lot of
new job.
relocating due
I've
to
done a
jobs.
lot of yeah, don't radio's a tough business, folks,
Yeah,
but it's yeah, that's when I moved back from Winnipeg, and the date that I was supposed to leave for Puerto Rico was the day that I started my new job. So didn't work out. That's probably, I don't regret a lot of things in life, but that's probably very high on my
hmm.
regret list, but it is what it
Yeah,
is. You guys had fun. You did
yeah.
the
So it
only
was episode.
BT
Yeah, it was the only
in-person
in-person
episode.
episode. We were actually able to do two episodes because it also in line with our year-end awards. So we were able to do episodes
Yeah.
69 and
Which
70.
those don't count, by the way, because I never even got a vote on those
Yeah,
awards. It
that
was
was like,
bullshit.
oh man, we better shoot another episode while we're down here. So we just gotta, barrel through these, and it wasn't our best
And
year-end
that was
awards.
correct me if I'm wrong, but that was also the birth of probably our longest running YouTube series, the Square Roundtable.
Yeah, that is where the Square Roundtables began because we were like, hey, we're down here. We got
You were
two other,
literally around a round table.
yeah, we got two other people with us who know wrestling. So let's just film some of these. So, like, the first couple roundtables were actually in person videos. So that was really, really cool. Um, so unfortunately, we weren't able to do another one of those episodes when we were at WrestleMania. WrestleMania trip is obviously one of our best memories of doing this podcast, so I might as well go to that right now because we just had so much going on. Our hotels were different that we really didn't have. We filmed what we could, but we didn't have enough time to shoot and edit a podcast episode
Yeah.
that we could actually have up in time. Wrestling is a move, it's always moving. If you're a day late, your content can sometimes be completely irrelevant. So we didn't have that time to do, there's nothing really evergreen content we could have done for this. So that's why we didn't end up doing a full episode, and we were just so dead from just being everywhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
those were long days.
Yeah, but it
I
was
don't
a
by
hell
the
of a
end of it, I don't
time,
know if I had
and
it in me.
probably our best memory of by that was the fact that the three of us finally got to be in the same place at the same time, enjoying
Yep.
wrestling, having a good time.
It
Um,
took 4 years of podcasting, 12 years of friendship, but damn it, we finally did it. And then we shut it all down a few months
yeah,
later.
yeah, and then it lasted the summer, and then nope. I definitely want.
It's like a bad online date where
Yeah,
you just meet, talk for so long, then you finally meet and it all
yeah.
falls apart.
One thing I want to definitely bring up is, especially big shout out to True Prince of Pro. Episodes 100 and 200 were very, very special for us. We had a lot, great time reflecting like we are now, and the games that True Prince set up for us really made those episodes,
Unbelievable.
yeah, made those episodes really feel special. The detail he went into to finding little treasures scattered throughout those episodes that we try to remember who said what. That was
It was a
amazing.
friendly reminder that everything I said on these podcasts is going to be on the record forever now. So
Yes, yeah.
I'm sure
um
that'll bite me in the ass in a few
oh,
years.
oh, most definitely. The year-end awards, Keith, that is something that I can
my, my
put
baby.
all the, yeah, that is your baby. You set that up, and I think it was a fantastic idea. I'm sad we can't do it this year. um
Yeah.
but that was fantastic, and I'm very happy we did it.
I agree. I would honestly say it is my favorite memory of the entire Byte That experience. Putting that all together, it was some long days. We basically recorded all of those awards in two sessions, but it was good. I think that's some of the best wrestling discussion we have, and the fact that we're not going to do one this year is probably my biggest disappointment of having to end Bite That, because I loved it so much. Oh, I loved it. It was so good. Even though to this day I still think you are so wrong about James Ellsworth that I'll never be able to let that go. But definitely my favorite project we ever undertook with Bite That.
Yes. Well, I won't get into the whole breakout star thing, but I loved that debate. I loved the intensity of it. And it
It's okay to
really
be wrong.
yeah, it brought out the best in us, and the fact that we were able to provide so much, normally that's a week where a lot of people take a break, and we gave people like hours upon hours of content. So that was super cool.
And
We
though,
go ahead.
considering it's the last episode and I can do confession time, I will straight up admit I ripped that from Giant Bomb. We stole that from Giant Bomb, and I think it is a great decision because if you are into video games, that is an incredible week of podcasting that they do. So my thought process was, why not do that exact thing for wrestling? Because a lot of people have a lot of downtime in the holidays, and if you're a wrestling podcast that's listening to this and still out there, this would be a piece of advice to you. There's a lot of people that have a lot of time to listen to things with the winter holidays. So if you're going to put out content, and a lot of it to keep people happy, that is a great time to do it. And that was the goal of the year-end awards, to really just give people something to do, something to listen to on their holiday.
Yeah,
And
it's a
then
lot of
if we're
travel
talking
time
about
for a lot of people.
exactly, and if there's a certain moment that we talk about, like especially in the things like match of the year and moment of the year, that they can go back and watch to complement it, it's a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a really good time doing it. It was very time consuming, but it was well worth it, and I'm very happy we did it. We really prided
So much
ourselves.
better than the Bites. Oh my
Yes, oh, so
god.
much better. The Biteies, we'll
Oh,
be honest,
there's garbage.
we really
There was
just kind of threw
trash.
it together. We didn't put a lot of thought into the Biteies, but we were like, hey, we should do a year-end awards. Last year we decided we're going to do it right. We're going to put a lot of time into it. We're going to put a lot of love into it, and I think that showed. It wasn't just kind of this half-baked episode we recorded right after we did the podcast. No, we spent like 2 weekends or something, or two straight day. It took 2 full days of work at least
Yeah,
for just recording, not even editing.
that's
Those
not
those are
going
two
through the
long days. Two
two long
long
days, and that's
days.
not including like going through all the categories and putting everything
Yeah,
in there.
putting that together was another couple hours worth of work in and of itself. So we put a lot of effort into that, and we prided ourselves on every single week we deliver content. We were Mr. No Weeks Off. So
Yeah, I don't think we never missed a
I think we
week.
missed 1 week the first year we took like a Christmas break. I
Oh,
think
yes, 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 yes.
that was the only time we ever took a week off. So if you've been listening to us since way back when, and you're used to every single week getting something from us, might be a little bit harder for you to deal with that gap. So
And thank you
sorry?
for that.
No, we really
I
do
love
appreciate that.
you. If you have been with us since the beginning, words cannot express my
Yeah.
gratitude,
The
because
fact that
that's
people took a
incredible
chance
to
on us
me.
back when we've always been a small podcast, but we were non-existent
We
back
used to
then.
pop
So
for like 50 listens.
yeah. So we really appreciate every single listen. It really means a lot to us. Yeah, and you guys all took a chance on us. Like I said, we're a small podcast. In the scheme of podcasts, we are tiny. So all of you took a chance on somebody new. So, as this podcast ends, we say, hey, take another chance on someone else,
Yeah,
because we really appreciated what you guys did for us. So someone else will certainly
yeah.
appreciate that as well.
And yeah, everyone listening out there, you're a member of the wrestling community, so keep that strong.
Absolutely. We did other things like Fight Night. That was like a very niche thing we did on YouTube that Juan and I, that is our love. Keith helped out a lot as GM, and he did a hilarious
Yeah,
commentary
but
on
that
one of
was
those episodes.
your
Yeah,
guys'
that
baby.
was Juan and I's baby, and that was something where our creativity really came out. We love talking about WWE week to week, all that, but where we could be like, hey, what if we ran a league? It's video game, there's no rules, we can do whatever we want. And we really ran with that for a year. It was really just because WWE 2K14 was the best game to do it in, and they killed the online servers. That's the main reason we didn't continue it. And the new games didn't really give
And did
us
you
the tools.
just give us story mode?
Yeah, if they gave us story mode, I'd think about bringing that back. But
Yeah.
until then, it is still something I'm super proud of. And if you haven't watched it, the whole playlist is up on the YouTube channel. That really, you can get a feel for our sense of humor and our passion for wrestling all kind of shines in that little thing.
I would honestly say that like during fight night, we are the most us. Like
Yes.
the behind the scenes personas, especially that episode where we're doing commentary, all three of us together.
Yes. Yeah.
That was a real good
Yeah, so like
episode.
the first couple episodes of that are just kind of me and Juan shooting the shit and just playing. Once you get to like episode 7, that's where we start to be like, okay, let's do commentary, let's do real stories and stuff. So if you want to skip like the first couple episodes, go for it, because this when we actually start doing storylines and stuff, that really kind of comes in later. So
And
you might watch the first couple things and be like, this isn't what they kind of talked about. It takes a couple episodes before we really get into it.
And if we're talking about moments, we should talk about Fight Night Live for a moment and just how incredible of an experience that was when we did a marathon of all the Fight Night on our Twitch account, and then debuted the finale, the series finale on there with all of you that were there, and it was that was probably, and that's up there in my favorite Bite That moments, the just everybody being along for the ride when the big reveal happened at the end of that. And God, that was so good. There's not a lot of things that like we've done that gave me straight up goosebumps, and during that, like, I had
Oh,
goosebumps
100%.
for how amazing that entire experience
Yeah, it
was.
was amazing too. We put something together, something
I
art.
almost got arrested for that,
Yes.
okay?
We artfully kind of put something together, and then to see a live reaction to it because we had this big reveal at the end. It was awesome to see that all live. And yeah, that was our favorite live stream without question. Um, and just another great thing is I loved that we did finally go to video. I know it's kind of short lived. We only ended up doing like 14 episodes in the live YouTube format, but this format change really had nothing to do with why we stopped. In fact, we wish we did this sooner. I really love this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the reason I'm continuing on Twitch. I really love the live stream interaction. I'll get into what Juan and I will be doing, and Keith, I'm sure, has plans down the line, but I'll let him speak to that towards the end. But those are just some of the great memories we have. I'm sure there's a ton I'm forgetting. I mean, I remember there's a time I just kind of went off on a tangent that was way too vulgar and really in bad taste, and then Keith went in and edited in all these like Bray Wyatt like get things over it.
Yeah,
And
that was an early
yeah,
episode.
that was an early episode when we hadn't quite realized that maybe we should filter ourselves just a little bit, just to be a little more professional. And Keith just did this hilarious edit that was amazing. That was another just great time. So there's a ton of memories. If you want to share them with us, I mean, we'll definitely be happy to retweet them on Twitter and, just to share that, let everyone kind of remember those times, and remind us of times that might have meant something to you guys. So now we're gonna move into questions. So like I said, if you got questions in the live chat, feel free to put them out there, and we have
Yep.
some questions as well that we're gonna be getting to that people sent in.
Yes, we are, but I'm actually going to start with a question from the live chat that's kind of related to memory lane here. It comes from Kane Yo-Yo, and he asks, "Are we ever going to see Ryan catch another Snorlax live on the internet?"
If I can get Pokemon Go set up with Twitch, then maybe, but I think you need like 2 phones to do that, so it's a little
Something like
complicated.
that.
Yeah, I have gotten more Snorlax since, but I've been getting them from the raids. It's a lot easier now, so I don't have to leave the podcast to go catch them. And you know what? I don't turn on the game during the podcast. That time I actually happened to get a text from my roommate saying there was one. And you know what? It had good stats. It was worth it. I
Then that's
no
what really
regrets.
matters. And it really shows how much of a pro you are when it comes to these things.
Oh, of course.
Indeed. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Jack A, who asks, if you could get me a present for my birthday, what would you get me? I would like John Cena, the Broncos, or Jessica Jones. Okay. Plus, if you could have a bromance with any WWE superstar, who would it be and why?
It could be male or female.
It's a bromance.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be male.
it should be more male if it's bromance. So we'll go with that.
Yeah.
See, so you like John Cena, you like the Broncos, and you like Jessica Jones. What would I get you for your birthday?
I'd get you the entire Denver Bronco team.
You know,
Just the
I
players,
don't
not
even.
like the franchise or anything like that.
Let's see. I don't know. Maybe a Broncos football autographed by John Cena and the first season DVD of Jessica Jones. Isn't that a TV
Yeah.
show? Yeah.
It's a Netflix series. So
Okay.
maybe like a month free of Netflix or something.
If I could have a bromance with anyone, I know this is Juan's answer too, but I'm gonna steal it. I would say Xavier Woods. He's the super chill
That's a good
guy.
bromance.
He loves all the nerdy stuff I love. He came out at a WrestleMania in like battle armor from Dragon Ball Z. That's a guy I want to chill with. That's a guy I could have a bromance with. So Xavier Woods.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. I would honestly go with him or Luke Gallows, because that would be a roller
He's the guy
coaster.
you want to have a beer with for
Yeah,
sure.
he's the guy you wanna party with Uncle Brother there, and it'd probably be a real good bad time. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Liam V, who asks, "Will Keith ever do his rap on air?" Ryan, will I ever do my rap on air?
Just a little something. Just a little
All
something.
right. I'll give you I'm not going to do it, but I'll give you this gift. And I know it's still out there cuz I watched it a couple of months ago. If you dig deep enough on the internet, there is a video taken on one of my birthdays like 4 or 5 years ago where I was hammered, 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 hammered at a karaoke bar singing "Without Me" by Eminem. It's on the internet somewhere. If you want to see it, I leave that to you. But I will not rap on this podcast.
You know what? I think that's as good an answer as you're ever going to get, Liam. I appreciate your persistence. So you're going to have to get to some digging on the internet. So you need to go to the darkest corners of the internet to find that. There
I
might
wish you
also be
luck.
on the darkest corners of the internet me having a drunken tribute to quarterback David Garrard, who is long since retired and
That's
irrelevant.
amazing. That's amazing.
I don't know. I think it's still on the internet somewhere, but maybe
I don't know.
not.
Nothing ever truly leaves the internet. It
It's
just like
true.
temporarily
True. Be
relocates.
careful out there, folks. Careful
It's a
with what
dark
you put on the
place.
internet.
Yep, because it may bite you. It may bite that
It
one
might
day.
bite that.
So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from DJ Threat, who asks, "What is your greatest WWE moment during the Byte That era?"
So during the 4 years that we've covered Byte That, what's something in WWE that was your favorite moment?
Hmm, it's tough.
See, I'm gonna say that probably one of my favorite moments, and this might be a little weird. Obviously, the whole Daniel Bryan thing, which we talked about
But yeah,
earlier, it
WrestleMania
is
30.
WrestleMania. The kind of the culmination of everything was great. Or the Undertaker streak ending was another great time to be covering WWE. One thing I will say, and I'm such a big CM Punk mark. When the whole CM Punk podcast came out, when it came out during that
Oh
Thanksgiving
yeah.
weekend, that was a hell of a moment to be, in this kind of community and talking about it. So that has to be one of my favorite moments, just because of like how monumental that podcast was, how huge it was. Everybody was talking about it. It was the second most downloaded podcast like that entire week, like of all podcasts, which is just nuts. Like, CM Punk gave a pretty big bump
The
to how come
Colt.
my kids, what the hell's his name? Why can't
Colt
I think
Cabana.
Cole Cabana? Jesus, the name, it came to me and then it left me immediately. Cole Cabana. I don't know why I couldn't get that name out, but yeah, that was
That's
a
the
hell of a
art of
time.
wrestling in a single sentence right there. But yeah, that was a big one. I would honestly say my favorite moment of the time that we were doing this is probably Seth Rollins cash in at WrestleMania, because that was, I think that's one of the most buzz generating moments that happened,
Absolutely.
and it was very, very exciting. And it saved us from Roman Reigns the first time, but it won't save us the
Yeah,
next
and
time.
those first couple Stone Cold podcasts, like the Vince McMahon
Oh
one,
yeah, the
the
Vince
Triple H
podcast.
one, those were huge as well. Those were great times for sure.
Hmm. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes from our live chat from Philip A, who asks, "What's your favorite breakfast cereal?" His is Cocoa Pops.
Cocoa Puffs was actually one of my favorites for sure. The thing is, as a kid, my mom, like, she'd get me like Cheez-Its and Goldfish and all this other stuff, but she was like adamantly against me getting sugar cereals. Like, I'd always get like Raisin Bran. I mean, I know the sugar and Raisin Bran, but like the really sugary ones.
Yeah.
I'd always get like Cheerios and Raisin Bran, which those are good. I actually really like those, but I never got to like get the Cocoa Puffs and stuff. So it was only when I went to a friend's house that I got those. So I do love me some Cocoa Puffs. I love Frosted Flakes. I just recently tried, and apparently around here you can only get it at Walmart, the Oreo cereal.
Oh
Holy
yeah,
shit. That is
that's the
so
good
good.
shit.
It is so
It's
good. I didn't even have it with milk. I was just like snacking on it. Holy shit.
it's real good. That
I
and
need to
the have you
get
ever
me
had
some of
like
that.
the Reese's peanut butter cup cereal as well?
Oh, I have had that. That's really good too. That's like it's like Cocoa Puffs, but then you get the peanut butter ones too. So it's
Yeah.
really good.
Oh, that's the good stuff. I'm jokes about my name aside, I'm really big into Special K. I like the strawberry Special K a lot. And like the milk after a bowl of Special K is probably one of the best things on this planet. Like that strawberry tasting milk. That's not strawberry milk, because I think strawberry milk tastes like garbage, but it's got that like little bit of strawberry in it that just makes it a perfect mix. But I'm not a big cereal person anymore. I think it's been years at this point since I had a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, when I first moved into this area of Massachusetts, back like north of Boston, because I lived south of Boston for a little while. Always grew up north of Boston, but for work I did move down there for a little while. So when I moved back, I was like I was just eating like crap or whatever, and I'd go to we have Market Basket here. I don't know if people have those in their area,
I've
but
never heard of
it's a
Market Basket.
great like cheaper place to shop over like the big ones around here are like Stop and Shop, Market Basket, Shaw's. So Market Basket's the best one. You get the best prices. Anyway, I'd get these big bags of like knockoff cereal. It'd be like a huge like it would be in like a
Like
like it
Lucky
wouldn't be
Charms,
yeah, but it would be in like a big bag and not like a
Frosted
box.
Jakes.
And I would just like sit on the couch, watch TV, and I just like eating it. I called it my bag of feed because I was just like munching on it the whole time. I felt like I was like a chicken or whatever. Um, but I have since started eating a lot better. But I did try that Oreo cereal last week. Like I said, check your WalMarts, or you can order it online from Walmart. It's delicious and it's addictive, so be careful.
Wise words there. So thank you
Yes.
for the question. Our next one comes in from this weird guy named Juan. I wonder who that could be. And he asks, "Are Ryan and Keith the same person? Are
Should
we?"
we maybe we should do the Dragon Ball Z fusion
Fusion, and then we'll
and
make.
become
Would it be Re, Wreath,
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 Wreath
or
or
Cryan?
Cayenne,
Cayenne.
Cayenne pepper.
Yeah,
Let's
because we spicy, son. We spicy.
go with Cayenne.
Cayenne. All right, I could do that. So this was actually a real problem that we ran into in the early days of Byte That, where we would get a
Maybe
lot
even
of
the more recent
comments.
days as
It's
well.
sometimes the more recent days, especially before we went to video, where we would get a lot of questions asking if we are the same
Or they
person
can't
because
tell our voices apart, like they're
yeah,
the same. Where it's like if people who have known us a while, they can really distinguish the two. But when you first hear voices, it's you don't hear like when you first hear voices in your head, they talk to
they
you, they
talk
tell
to
you
you and
things,
understand.
but after a while you start to like differentiate the subtleties in a voice.
Well,
It's
you
like
see
when you
Ryan
if you've
when
ever been friends with like twins, right? When you first meet them, it's like really difficult to tell them apart.
it's
But
true.
but after a while of spending time with them, you notice the details to distinguish the two of
Yeah.
them.
In Winnipeg, one of my best friends was a twin, and I know exactly what you mean. It's weird like that. But no, we're different people. So yeah, that's it. So thank
Sorry
you
to
for the
disappoint.
question. Yeah. Thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from the true Prince of Pro, who asks, all I ask is we take a moment to remember our fallen heroes from Fight Night. Thank you for being such great friends. You know what, True Prince? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. We'll take a
You
moment to remember Alex Hayes, Pooh
killed
Bear,
him.
uh
Killed him.
who else did we kill off?
The
Banana
dumb
Bread. Of course,
bread.
Banana Bread.
Yeah. You know what? F banana
I
bread.
think there was what? That's
Yeah.
that's them's fighting words right there. People love banana
Yeah.
bread.
I know. And you know what? F banana bread and F banana bread. Like the bread of banana.
What? Banana bread is great.
Yeah, I can't
Fantastic.
actually pack that up.
Banana
It's
bread's fantastic.
absolutely
I'm not a fan
delicious.
of nuts in banana bread, which may
No,
be
no, that ruins it.
controversial. I just
No,
like
I'm
straight up
with you on
banana
that
bread.
one. I'm with you. That's nuts and banana bread ruins the damn thing. Like you don't. It's unnecessary. It's like I don't know what's something that I've hated that I've called unnecessary. I'm blanking on it, but
I
I
don't.
know there's been a lot
All I
of
know is
feud
I'm
there.
trying some pumpkin bread tomorrow, and I'm excited.
Oh, that stuff's good. I love a
Oh,
good pumpkin
I am
loaf.
so excited.
Yeah. Also, do you find it weird when people call bread loaf?
Well, if you say like a loaf of bread, I'll have like I need to get a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
No, but it like
I don't know. Loaf is such a weird word to me. That's all I got.
I
So thank you for the
like these
question.
awkward pauses in between questions.
I know. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Mike, who asks, who do you guys think is the best champion for each belt, including hardcore, divas, European, and light heavyweight?
So, best of all the belts, including some of these more defunct
Yeah.
ones. Let's
So
see.
the best NWA champion was Ric Flair. The best WWF champion was probably the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. All right, no, we're not gonna go through all of them.
Greatest WWE, like, all right, let's do like, okay, greatest WWE champion. I would probably say Stone Cold Steve Austin is up there for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Steve Austin is probably the best
yeah. If
WWE
we went with like
champion.
the WWE's world heavyweight, Triple H might be, although it was also kind of the reign of terror.
I would
Um,
say, honestly, I would give that one to Batista. Batista was the best
that was like
WWE
really
World
his belt,
Heavyweight.
but it was also
Yeah,
very much Triple H's belt.
it
In
was.
WWE, Intercontinental Champion. I think Randy Orton was honestly one of the best, maybe not the best, but
Yeah, Randy
certainly.
Orton in his greatness reign is definitely up there. Even though it's current, I would honestly say The Miz is probably the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. He made that belt.
Yeah, and I'm gonna speak to more modern times because I wasn't really watching in the early '90s. Like I know
Yeah,
Macho Man and
there's the
held
honky tonk
titles.
man.
All these greats who have held titles. It's like more in the time that I've watched. Hardcore title. I really liked Raven as hardcore champion, but there were a lot of great ones. Mick
I'm going with
Foley.
the first with Mick Foley
Yeah.
being the best hardcore
I
champion.
mean, it fits him the most. Divas champion. Certainly, Mickey James is up there. Wait, yeah, did Mickey James have the Divas title? I'm getting it mixed up with like the
Yeah.
regular women's one. Maybe Beth
No.
Phoenix then.
Yeah,
Uh,
probably Beth Phoenix. I think Mickey James was women's champion.
and Charlotte was Divas champion for
Yeah.
quite a while before it switched over.
I would
Um,
say AJ Lee is
oh,
probably the
AJ
best
Lee was
Divas.
another great one. It's a good one.
Hmm.
European, I don't know, Kurt Angle. I barely remember the European
Yeah.
title.
It's D'Lo Brown because he was the champion of all of Europe. True Prince of Pro knows
Light
exactly what I mean.
heavyweight Gilberg for sure.
Yeah, Gilbert or Taka Michinoku.
Yeah. US title, I'd have to probably give it to John Cena. Even for his early years and his later years, I think
I
really
totally
was a
agree.
great US champ.
Both times he was US champion, he brought a lot of prestige to that belt. I would
Universal
easily
title,
say.
definitely Finn Balor. It was great. It was such a great
Yeah.
reign.
And it's such a
Yeah.
long reign as
Yeah.
well. Very
Kevin
very
Owens is the obvious best Universal champion so far.
Yeah.
And I mean Brock's had some pretty good matches, but as far as like seeing that title around, it's just Kevin Owens who is that guy.
He's the only one with like a real
Yeah.
title reign at this point. He kind of
And
wins by default.
yeah, I mean all those, SmackDown Women's title, it's like Alexa Bliss, Raw Women's title, it's probably Charlotte. Those are all so new,
Yeah, it's tough to say. Even like the SmackDown Tag Champions, probably the Usos.
Yeah, the Usos. Raw Tag
Greatest
Champs,
tag
I mean, I
champion.
guess Jameson, Cesaro,
Yeah.
Hardys.
What's the official lineage of the Raw Tag Champions? Like, did they
They might have
when did that
inherited
split
the
happen?
like the old
The
tag
brass belt.
titles, yeah.
Yeah.
You got like Team Hell No and a bunch of other great tag teams that I'm not thinking of at the moment. It's always hard to think
Yeah.
of like best tag team title reigns, and the tag titles are always so confusing for the lineage that like, oh, are the Hardy Boys from like 2001 on there? Like,
Yeah.
who's on that reign? Edge and Christian, are they on there?
Yeah,
I
like
don't
can we
even know.
just say Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, and the Hardy Boys
Yeah.
were the best tag champions of all time? Yeah, that's a weird one, but yeah, I think we got some good names on there.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel satisfied. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Bizzle, and Bizzle asks, "What's been your favorite week to deliver the podcast? All the best, guys. You will be missed." Well, thank you. I really like the term "deliver the podcast." Like this is like our emergency room, and we're
Or we're
giving
like a
birth to this
pizza.
podcast.
We
Or
knock
yeah,
on your door and we're like, hey,
yeah.
here's a
Hey,
podcast.
Byte that's here. That'll be no
I want
dollars because
pizza
we give
so
it to you
bad.
free. Oh my god, I know. Oh, haven't had pizza in a while, Ryan. I'm like
I had
a
it
fiend
recently
for
for the first time. I had real pizza for the first time in forever, but I messed up. I was in,
Oh
so
no,
Jeff's bachelor party was in New Orleans,
that's
and
not near Jeff.
on the way back, the layover was in Houston, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna get me some pizza. So I see pizza at the airport, I beeline for it, get pizza. It's pretty damn good pizza for airport pizza. It's like tier 2 pizza.
Yeah,
Um, and then a couple of my other friends come back. They found another place that has like Texas barbecue and like pulled pork and like all this delicious stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm happy I had some pizza, but I realized I've never been to Texas. And I was I'm only in Texas for the next 2.5 hours. I
turns
should have
out
got some Texas barbecue while I was
all
there.
my exes live there in
Yeah.
Texas.
So
That's why I hang my hat in Tennessee.
I was dumb. I don't know the next time I'll ever be in Texas, and missed opportunity. But anyway, we kind of touched on this question, when kind of looking back at, podcasts. And like I said, I'd have to stick to the week that CM Punk had his podcast on, he did Cole Cabana's podcast because it was such a crazy week. That week and and I think that was pretty close to Vince McMahon's podcast week too. I can't quite remember. I think a lot of stuff dropped that week for wrestling news. It was insane. So that would have to be for
That
me.
was a hell of a week. I would say, yeah, that one or the year-end awards is another favorite of mine, as I mentioned earlier. That and the week we did WrestleMania 30, because we were so effing excited to record that episode. Like, I remember I wrote down 2 pages of notes of everything that I wanted to touch on in that episode. It was very exciting to record. I think that's one of the ones I'm gonna have to go back and listen to just to see how we sounded in that episode.
Well, we just got Philip in
I'm
the
sad.
chat saying it's 10 a.m. now and I'm legit gonna go drive and get pizza when it's done. Well, hey, I really want pizza now too, but I'm not gonna have pizza today.
As they say, the mighty wizards of the pizza say, pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. When pizza's on a bagel, you can eat pizza anytime. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Barnaballs.
Balls.
Balls.
Your
Balls.
final question from Balls.
No more balls.
I mean, it's the reason
Hashtag
we call him Balls is because of you reading his question.
Barnaballs.
I always read it as Barnable, like Barnables, but you
Huh.
coined it as Balls, man. You made him Balls.
You know, it is probably Barnables. Now
But
that
because you called him Barnaballs, it just became the
I've
thing.
never seen it any way other than Barnaballs. Like that's
all
how it
secrets
was
revealed
in my
this week, folks. All secrets.
Jesus.
It's a tell-all episode.
My
You know,
life
those
is
in
a
the
lie.
chat, this is your chance. This is your chance. We're an open book. So
Not
thinking of
completely
questions.
open.
Not totally open with minor restraints.
Yeah. Wow, you just changed my life, Ryan. But Barnables asks, "What is your favorite moment with all 3 of you guys? All my love to you and all your best in your future projects." And then he put a heart. Well, heart right back at you, Barnables.
So I think my favorite moments during this podcast for when we're online, because I think in person kind of trumps everything, but online, I think it was that Fight Night live stream. I think was just so much fun. And then in person, it would probably be all of us just finally being able to go to Cece's Pizza. The pizza is coming back again, and it was just us hanging out, like chilling, eating some food.
Judging me
Like
for
that.
how much pizza I ate.
Yeah, that trip was just a great time because unfortunately during most of the wrestling we didn't get to all sit together, so it was more like the times in between
Yeah.
where we could all kind of
I
spend
was
time
an
together.
elitist. And I'm still a little bitter that you didn't get drunk with me that one day, but that's okay. One day.
Someday.
Anyway,
Hey,
yeah.
we're actually closer now, so
We are. We're a day's drive away, which is very doable, or we're within a day's drive away, and I'm very excited. And I'm sure you somewhere down the line you will see that shenanigan unfold in whatever form that takes
oh
up.
yes, someday.
But my favorite moment of ours doing this podcast is probably either Fight Night Live or there was that episode or that night that we recorded we did both the commentary that I keep talking about on Fight Night. We did that, and then I did the one where I played the old timey
Yeah,
the old timey or announcer in that match, like where we time traveled, and then I did that. Just said the dumbest things
that might have
that I
been the
could.
greatest thing you've ever recorded.
Maybe.
Like,
And it was just completely off the cuff. I was just saying whatever came to mind. That was one take. And then we just sat back and listened to it and just laughed for hours.
yeah. So for like a little bit more context, the story we were telling in Fight Night, which is again our little wrestling league that we made using the 2K WWE 2K14 video game. There's a storyline where these characters were lost in time, but we found like a piece of footage of them back in time. So we wanted to we did like black and white footage and we tried to make it like an old-timey wrestling match. And so it was in black and white. We had all these effects, and we were like, "Oh, it's gonna be Juan and I talking over this tape, like we're watching it for the first time." But we wanted it to feel like we were watching an old wrestling thing, so that there would be like commentary kind of subtly in the background that was going on as Juan and I were talking over it. But so we were like, Keith, just say whatever, just sound old timey and just say whatever you want.
I put on a voice like this,
yeah.
and I did some commentary.
So we like after we listened to like what Keith had recorded, it was so damn funny. We were cracking up that we had to release that as its own thing so that you could actually hear everything that he said because it was so damn good.
And if
So
you've never
yeah,
listened to it,
it's on
I
the YouTube
highly
channel.
recommend it.
Yeah, it's all on there.
And
So
I managed to not be racist or offensive for that entire time, so it's really a win
he
in
was
my
very
book.
progressive for that
Indeed.
time.
Indeed. Though I do talk about the milkman.
Oh, of course.
So of course. So thank you for the question. You know what? Actually, before I go on, TJ Kinder in our chat also mentions the 12-hour live stream. That was also a really good time where we did the patron celebration live stream where we played video games all day, and
Yes.
then
Big
for
shout
the
out to all our
first
patrons who supported us the whole way. Seriously, really appreciate it because I mean, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have happened without you guys.
that live stream, I was so hungover that I needed to leave and take a nap just so I could manage my own shift. Yeah, I'm probably sound like an alcoholic this episode. I'm realizing that right about now. But nonetheless, thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Sam H, who asks, "Hi, gents. Hi, gents. Hold on, let me read this again. Hi, gents. You know I've asked many questions over time, so here's my final #AskBT. God, I love that hashtag. I'm going to miss it so much. For the last two episodes, I can't talk anymore. All right. Take it from the top, boys. This next question comes in.
Style.
Exactly, from Sam H. Yeah, here's something that you all probably don't know. Before we did this live, there was a lot of times where I would have to read a question 5 or 6 times before actually getting it
and
right.
I would have to end the podcast like 7 million times. I used to have a billion outros because I kept messing up.
There's a lot of behind the scenes things that happened in this show that all got thrown out the window once we went live, and now I'm like getting emotional with these questions. I'm gonna
stop you for 1 second. I know,
right.
Interrupting all your emotions. I'm sorry.
But
I do want to say we got a super chat from TJ Kinder, and he says, "Here is cheers to the final episode of Byte That. Found you guys a little over a year ago and been a fan ever since. Love you guys. Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. The $5 will not go unwasted. We promise you. So thank you so much."
Yes, thank you.
Did I say unwasted? It will not go wasted.
It will not go.
I'm not trying to say we're gonna waste it.
Double negative, baby. Woo! But all right, back to I think I have my composure.
Okay.
Now. Back to the questions from Sam H. Ask a few here. So the first ones are: can you name a superstar that you would like to most see make a comeback, and then name a star that you would like to see leave the WWE?
Okay, so make a comeback. If health permitted, I would love to see a Daniel Bryan come back for sure.
Agreed. I think that's number one on my list, or CM Punk.
Star most like to leave WWE. This probably comes as no surprise. Dolph Ziggler needs to GTFO.
That or
his own good.
Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder needs to go to the Indies. I think he could do.
Yeah, both for their own good.
Agreed.
They need a rejuvenation outside of WWE.
They could easily be up there with Cody and Drew Galloway and all of those guys. And then the second question Sam H asks is, you have to create a new stable called Byte Club using old and new superstars. Who do you pick? Thank you. The podcast is usually too late to listen to me live, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll miss you guys. I'll miss you too, Sam H. Miss you too.
Who do you put in the Byte Club?
Right? Well, I think
Simon Dean, No Way Jose,
Johnny
Curtis. That is it right there. That is the most Byte Club stable ever. Yep, No Way Jose, Johnny Curtis. Yeah, it's Fandango as Johnny Curtis. The gimmick that Juan is so in love with, and then Simon Dean.
Yeah, we get no say. We have no input on this. Maybe they like wear stakes around their neck or something like that, and then that's the Byte Club. All right, I'm good with that answer. So thank you for the question. Our final question of the podcast really comes from Tyler E, who asks, "Hey guys, just wanted to thank you for all the amazing content. I will miss the YouTube channel and I wish you all the best." Well, thank you. I have recently abandoned WWE live programs as well and simply use YouTube to watch, so I understand the need for a break. In case you guys do a final Q&A, which, hey, guess what? I was wondering if there was any reason that you guys were moving on. Work, family, are you guys going to stay in touch as much? Anyway, not sure if it's my business, but good luck. Finally, if you guys have new outlets for non-wrestling content you're planning on, please remind us on the final podcast. Also, I am a journalism grad, and if you ever need help on a project, let me know. Oh, and Keith, welcome to Ontario. As I am from Toronto, maybe we will cross paths one day. Thanks again, from Ty. And you know that's actually funny, Ty, because I'm heading to Toronto next weekend. So, yeah, that's fun.
Who knows what's gonna go down there? But
So,
yeah, this is a great final
uh,
question,
what
honestly.
what what lies ahead, Ryan? You go first.
Okay, so we are definitely, at least I can speak for myself and Juan as of now, that we are going to be still out there in the world doing things. They ask if,
But
we're
let's say give one some time.
yes, yeah, Juan's gonna need some time. Things are pretty rough for him right now. Um, but it's interesting that all three of us actually in a very short span of time are all going to be all have or are starting new jobs, but that actually had nothing to do with why Byte that ended. It's purely because we are burnt out on WWE. That is the sole reason, because everything else about it we like, but we do not want to continue for the time being covering WWE. So effectively the YouTube channel and everything will come to a close. We will have that bonus episode, that true reunion episode down the line. But until then, there will be nothing. But I will be starting to stream on Twitch. I'm going to go like start regularly streaming starting in October. That's twitch.tv/the Ryan McNulty. It's pretty simple to remember. You can also
And
follow
we'll
me.
paste it on Twitter.
Yeah, best place to get updates with what I'm doing. Follow me on Twitter at the Ryan McNulty. So I'm gonna use that same name everywhere, so it's very easy to find me wherever I'm gonna be posting stuff. But Twitter and Twitch is really all you need to know for what I'm doing. Juan, you can follow on Twitter at EpicJC. He has YouTube channels. He's gonna have one for Press Pause, which is the gaming channel he's been doing for a while anyway. That's twitch.tv/presspausetv as well for his Twitch stream. So he's gonna have two YouTube channels going on, and he's gonna be streaming on Twitch. So Juan's doing a ton of things. All of his stuff, I would just go to his Twitter at EpicJC. He kind of talked before that he does have plans. So when he's all up and running, Juan likes to stay busy. He kept us motivated throughout all
Yeah.
of BT.
Seriously, let's take a moment and say that if we lost Juan, this ship would have sunk a long time ago.
We are nothing without Juan.
He is the heart of this
yes,
project.
Juan is the heart and soul. His work ethic is like nobody I've ever met. He motivated us to be better. And
honestly, he's so motivated that it pisses me off most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there is usually, sometimes there's some friction between Keith and Juan because they're so different, and I was always kind of that middleman to be like,
you were definitely the middle ground.
I
have
to keep the peace. Yeah, I have to keep the peace. I mean, there was times when Juan put that wig on at WrestleMania, like basically I had to stop a fight from breaking out essentially between these two guys. So
never mind. I'm gonna sound like an alcoholic.
But yeah, I mean, Juan, he always wants to keep going. He's always super motivated. So that's why he's gonna do like 2 YouTube channels, Press Pause, all this stuff. And I want to kind of simplify. I'm gonna just do Twitch. Like, someday, if my Twitch ends up taking off, like, oh, maybe I'll do a YouTube channel coinciding with it. I'm like narrowing my like I'm tunnel vision on one thing. Like, let me try and do this. Let me build this and see where it goes. See if I like doing it. So that's kind of my focus. Keith?
Now me. I'm gonna take some time probably, and like we've mentioned a couple times, like I just moved, started a new job, kind of have a new life now. Like I'm in even though it's still Canada, I'm in like a whole place, and I'm gonna take some time away and figure some stuff out to super real for a moment. It's been a rough year for old Poshik over here, and it's going to be I need some time to really like put on the brakes and get some things good. Like everything's fine now. I'm not like trying to gather sympathy or anything like that, but it'll be nice to really just take a break for a bit. We've been doing this for a long time, and just to shift my focus more to more inwards for a little bit, because having you time is very important, and everybody should do it. And this is going to be my opportunity to get some me time. Now, 6 months down the road, I'll probably do something. You'll see me around. I'm probably going to lean on both Ryan and Juan for the communities that they've worked so hard to build in the meantime while I'm on a little vacation. But I'll do something. I'll be around. I don't know what that capacity looks like. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something that I'm passionate about. And this has been like doing this entire podcast has been a very eye-opening experience, where even if you do something that you love, you're not immune to things like burnout from it. So you have to be very careful about that. Like I love wrestling. It's probably one of the biggest things in my entire life, and it always will be. I've watched it since I was 5 years old, and it's my happy place. But it's just got to a point where it's time to take a step back. And if I love something that much and that's how I feel, I really need to take a long basically need to look inwards and figure out what exactly I want to do going forward. So I'm gonna take the time to do that. Maybe I'll make a Twitter in the meantime. We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see. I'm not
I
gonna
wouldn't hold
promise
your breath,
anything.
folks, but it
Yeah,
could happen.
I could make it. That doesn't mean I'll tweet, because hey, if there's one thing I'm terrible at, it's social media. But
Just
yeah,
ask
I'll
Juan. He
just
knows.
ask Juan. Well, we've literally fought about this for years. But yeah, I'll be around. You haven't seen the last of me, but it's going to be Keith needs some Keith time.
Yeah, I see Philip asked, can we still access old episodes and stuff? We're leaving the YouTube channel up. We're not taking it down.
Yeah,
All
all
of
of
that's
that's
still
going to
there.
be
We're gonna
available.
leave the RSS, like the podcast feed that you listen to on iTunes. Byte That Plus and Byte That are gonna stay up for now. Like we're gonna keep paying that. It's really not that expensive to keep running. And thanks to our patrons, who again we can't thank enough, we can keep that running for a little while. So if you want to go back and listen to the old stuff, it's all there. It's all there, and it's gonna stay there for the time being. We have no plans to take any of it down. If we do drop that podcast feed eventually, we're gonna let everyone know. But like I said, this isn't this is the end of Byte That until the reunion episode, and then it's truly the end. But this isn't goodbye for many of us. We're all still
No.
around. Like I said, you have my Twitter, the Byte That Twitter. We're not going to kill it. So if you
And
send us a DM, somebody will probably
have
respond
we
to you.
talked about the Discord yet? What we're doing with that?
I did mention that a couple episodes ago, as well as on Twitter recently. So yeah, the Discord channel was originally for patrons only. Anyone who had ever contributed to our Patreon got in. Now that Byte That is ending, we are opening that up to anyone who wants to join. So you send us a DM on Twitter, and we'll send you an invite, and you can hang out, chat with us. So that's open to anyone who wants to stick around with a lot of these great people. Sushant, who we met at WrestleMania, is there. Barnaballs. We got a lot of people in there. Liam Vincent, a lot of cool patrons who we have a lot of great discussions. Derek Wilson. All those guys are a great part of our they're great friends. So if the BT
Come
community,
join the
the
party.
Bike Club doesn't have to die just because there isn't any more podcasts. There's a section on there for wrestling. Everyone who's joined that is a fan of wrestling, so that's still there to discuss. We're not taking that away from anybody. So if you want to join the Byte That Discord and you haven't yet, just send us a DM on Twitter at Byte That Cast, and we'll happily send you an invite. It's also a great place when if we're playing a game and you have the same game, we can go on the voice channel, coordinate, something like PUBG, Players Unknown Battleground. We've been playing that a lot recently, so it's a cool place for all that fun stuff. So like I said,
Indeed.
this isn't goodbye. We are still going to be very much out in the cosmos. There just no longer will be a Byte That podcast.
Indeed. So
So,
I guess
the BT
this is it.
Weekly update.
There is none.
I
I
wrote
feel like
something. Hold on, let me look.
you
Oh,
ever
BT will. Yeah.
you've seen Titanic, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Like you know that scene at the end where it's the band where it's like, gentlemen, it's been an honor playing with you this evening. Then they play off to their death. Orion, it's been a pleasure podcasting with you for
It's
these
been a
last 4
pleasure. It
years.
feels so wrong doing this without Juan. It really
It
does.
does. He
Like,
already fell off the Titanic. It's
oh
okay.
Jesus. Stay safe, Juan.
Please stay
Don't
safe. I love you.
don't rotate with the person on that floating piece of cardboard or that
Yeah,
floating door or
seriously,
whatever.
there was room for 2 people.
There was room. Or find another piece of floating debris. Seriously. So yeah, I wrote a BT weekly update. I've already said this like 50 times, but we will do an episode with Juan in the future. That's what I wrote for the BT weekly update.
All
Other
right.
than that, I'm going to be closing the Patreon soon just to guarantee nobody gets charged. I already paused that for patrons, so don't worry. You will
And
not
once
be
again,
charged.
thank you to everybody that
Yes,
that was a
seriously.
patron of this show. That's you guys kept us going. Like that was one of the most humbling and motivating experiences of this entire ride. And I can never truly express how meaningful it was to me.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the fact when it's one thing you listen regularly, the fact that, you felt, passionate enough to actually give some of your hard earned money. We appreciate every dollar we got because it really did help us. A lot of this equipment we had was because of you guys, and it really made the show better. It's unfortunate that it came to an end so soon after, we were seeing the benefits of that. But like we said, if our passion isn't there, you guys deserve better. And we seriously appreciate everything you guys have done for us. This has been an amazing experience. We've learned, we've grown a lot. I mean, listen to me in the early episodes and how quiet I
Listen to
was. And,
me.
we've come a long way learning to just talk and discuss and think on the fly. We've really grown a lot, and it's thanks to you guys who kept us motivated for always, giving us feedback. And it really means the world to us. So I hope to see a lot of you still out there, wherever it is that we cross paths again. I'd be happy to talk to each and every one of you because it really means the world to us. And I say that very truly.
I agree. Yeah, now that I'm feeling all emotional, I'll probably go make that Twitter so we can all hang out
I
on
feel I'm honestly drawing this out because I don't want to end it. It's because I know
I know
once I hit that button, like
it's
it really is. It's real. Like it's still real
still
to
real
me.
to me.
Damn it! Like,
But
oh my god.
seriously, just to reiterate what Ryan said, thank you so much, and thank you for taking a chance on us, even if you only listened to one episode, which I guess you wouldn't be listening to this episode if you did. But if I'm speaking to you rhetorically, thank you for taking a chance on us. We don't deserve it in a weird way because we're just a couple of wrestling fans that did this for fun, and the fact that you're giving us the time of day, you're giving us an hour of your week to listen to us, just three friends shoot the shit, is the most humbling experience of my life. There's nothing really like it, and the fact that we could do this and not just be the fact that we would get people that listen to this every week, that we're not just talking into the abyss, is one of the most incredible experiences that I could have asked for. And for all the friends that we made along the way, for everybody that's ever interacted with us, thank you.
One would have said,
Thank you so
or
much.
Joseph Park to the abyss thing. By the way, that would have been a Juan joke for sure.
And God damn it.
But
Well,
yeah, True Prince of Pro says, much love to you guys. You're not only my friends, but you're my family. Hashtag Bike Club for life. Like I said, True Prince, man, we'll hit you up with a Discord invite because we all want to stay in touch. Anyone who wants to interact with us, we want to keep in touch with you guys. So, like I said, that Discord invite and Kane Yo-Yo, Byte forever. That's
Uh,
amazing.
I
I
think
wish we could get a whole chant of that because that would be a great way to go out. So
so.
that's that's
I guess
gonna
this is
do it,
it.
man. I mean, this has
Been a
been
hell of
a
a ride.
really a great time to just go down memory lane. We really kind of hit every point we wanted to hit of just talking about modern wrestling, looking down memory lane, and then really just saying what this podcast has really meant to us. So that's gonna do it for this week, folks. So
And forever.
yeah, thank you guys for listening.
And I guess the only way that we can really end it is by saying that for now and forever, our
Our
watch has
watch has
ended.
ended.